I guess another point on high salary that I want to talk about is the evidence that's involved is never exactly what USCIS wants to see. So like I said, USCIS would love to see a list of the top salaries in the entire field for a particular position. And they would love to see that your client's salary is on that list, or even better, that your client is named on that list as a top earner. These lists just don't exist in the vast majority of industries. I mean, I guess maybe to a degree they exist for lawyers because there's some publication of all the top salaries and bonuses and all of that, but that doesn't even account for discretionary pay. It can count for government jobs because the government publishes their schedule, and so if you're at the top, you're at the top. There's not really anything you can change about that. So some industries, I guess, do have these lists, but very, very few do. And tech, IT, engineering, software, none of them have these kinds of lists. So when you address this with USCIS, oftentimes you're having to pull in data that is relevant but not conclusive. So you can pull in the Department of Labor's data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that's tied to your occupational code. And it's relevant, it just isn't conclusive proof. You can pull in private wage surveys with your particular title in your particular geographic location. And again, that's relevant, but it's not conclusive because it doesn't show the entire field. You can pull in paid private salary surveys like from Mercer or Radford or some of these other firms. And again, those are often better, but they're not conclusive because it's not like USCIS can go in and see all of the data and do an expert analysis. I've also included expert opinions, and those can be helpful as well. But again, they're not conclusive because the expert can only rely on the data that they see. So use what you have and make a reasonable argument. But just know that no matter what you present, any officer can poke holes in it. Like if you presented me with data, I could poke 10 holes in that data and explain why it's not relevant and why it shouldn't be considered. I can be very contrarian when I want to be. So you're never going to do anything in this criteria that's conclusive proof. It's pretty much impossible. Just use as much as you can and many different modes of analysis like occupation, field, geography, comparison with different levels or different titles, even comparison with titles that are higher than you. Do as much of that analysis as you can. And then hopefully you will get a reasonable officer.